Hi, my name's Dixon, and every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this semester, when I would walk out of my sociology class, I would take a right down the hill of Chapel Wilson towards Walker for my math. On my way there, in my view this entire time was this weird looking sculpture in front of Peacock Hall that looks like some bendy straws poking through a donut. This thing was starting to confuse me because I was seeing it all the time and I didn't know what it was or what it was supposed to be, and the only sort of any kind of identification it had on it was this little piece of metal that says trap. Cammy, do you know anything about that statue in front of Peacock Hall?
What statue?
Lena, do you know anything about that statue in front of Peacock Hall?
What statue?
That statue.
What about it?
Do you know what it is or who made it or anything about it
They
at all?
told me about it during a tour.
They did. What did they say?
I don't remember.
You know anything about that statue right there?
What statue?
In front of Peacock over there? It's right out in front of
Oh.
Peacock. Anything?
I have no idea what that is.
Not a clue. One of my friends suggested that I should go inside Peacock Hall and talk to some ladies at a desk somewhere or something, but I have no idea what he meant by that. I did go inside Peacock Hall though. So I'm here in the Peacock bathroom, and I wouldn't recommend it because one, it was really hard to find, and also they have one-ply toilet paper, so. The second floor is not so bad though. They have a coffee shop and this nice lounge area where I was doing some work. I looked up stuff like weird sculpture in front of Peacock Hall, App State, and sculptures at App State, and the stupid statue wasn't anywhere, dude. I have no idea why. Nothing was coming up. So randomly, I just decided to Google trap to see if anything would come up. I expected the Urban Dictionary definition of trap to come up, but instead, surprisingly, I got taken to an article titled Remembering Wayne Trapp. I read this article, and it turns out that Trapp is actually a dude named Wayne Trapp. Wayne Trapp was a guy born in Pittsburgh. Nobody really knows when. For some reason, he didn't care so much about age, so he didn't tell people when he was born. But long story short, he ended up in the Appalachians around the 80s, and he had many corporate and private collectors around the world. And in the article, there's a sentence that talked about how his sculptures are often seen around Appalachian campus, and this is how I knew that I was on the right trail. Sadly, Wayne Trapp had died a year prior in 2017, hence the name of the article, Remembering Wayne Trapp. But now I know his name, so I googled it, and he has a website. So I went to his website, and on the website he has a link for sculptures that he's done. So I clicked on the link and scrolled down, and there it was, Wayne Trapp's pierced disc. But the picture they had of it didn't have the sculpture where it is currently, and this only led me to more questions. To try and help me answer these questions, I sent emails to two different people, one to Marianne Redding, who works at the Turson Center for Visual Arts, and the other to Cherry Johnson from the Watauga Arts Council. Cherry told me that she thinks it might be one of the Rosen Sculpture Competition sculptures. The Rosen Outdoor Sculpture Competition is exactly what it sounds like. It's a competition to get one of your sculptures out and around on campus, but sadly this statue is not one of those. Since I found that public knowledge of the statue is apparently very low, I just tried to Google Wayne Trapp pierced disc, but that brought me to a page by the Civic Arts Project, and it shows some big cork and metal sculpture in downtown Columbus, Ohio, located right across from the Columbus Cultural Arts Center. Apparently, this post was made by some dude named Matt. My man Matt here also listed a source for this post, which I visited but wouldn't come up. All it said was Ohio Outdoor Sculpture, so I went back to Google and typed in Ohio Outdoor Sculpture, and a website came up, which was an inventory of around 1,000 publicly accessible outdoor sculptures in Ohio. On their website, after spending a few minutes on their sculptures tab, which is absolutely terrible, I went to the search bar and typed in Wayne Trapp, and the other pierced disc came up, that big metal carton one. All these conflicting sources only made me more confused, so I thought maybe it was Trapp's website that might be the flawed thing here, so I went back to it to see if anything there would lead me to believe this. I went back to the sculptures tab of Trapp's website to see if this other pierced disc was there, and maybe I just missed it somewhere, but it wasn't there. But at the bottom of the website, there was a link that said contact where I could email someone, and that email ended with @skybest.com. So I went to Google and looked up Skybest, and it turns out Skybest is a telecom provider in Boone with a location in the Boone Mall. And that made me nervous that I just emailed some random person from this telecom provider about a sculpture on App's campus. I continued emailing with Marianne Redding, and she said that at this point I knew as much about the statue as she did, so there went that. One day when I was looking through my email, I saw at the top was a 5-day-old email by somebody named Rebecca at the Wayne Trapp website. Thank you, Gmail. And she said that simply they couldn't get all the sculptures onto his website for some reason, and that some of the sculptures had the same name. That was it. They just couldn't fit them on the website, and some of them had the same name. Thanks for being a real creative guy there, Trapp. Love ya. Then, after a few emails and just a few minutes later, she sends me a link to a catalog of the 24th Rosen Outdoor Sculpture Competition, and at the bottom of it, it said Wayne Trapp, Pierce Disc, Stainless Steel, 2007, purchased with funds gifted to the University, 2008, Broyhill Inn and Conference Center. So the sculpture was apparently bought around 2007 or 2008 and then placed near the Broyhill Inn and Conference Center, but was probably moved to Peacock when the Broyhill Inn and Conference Center was demolished back in 2017 to make room for dorms. So, here we are. The sculpture is named Pierce Disc. It was purchased from Wayne Trapp around 2007 or 2008. It was placed near the Broyhill Inn and Conference Center and then probably moved to Peacock Hall when the Inn and Conference Center was demolished to make room for dorms. But Wayne Trapp was a great man, and it seems he didn't care much for getting recognition for things. He just did it because he loved it. And I hope this will help you to wonder and be curious more in your everyday lives, because maybe you'll make an awesome presentation about something you didn't think would last a page when you would write an English paper for it.